will this premium relief that we're seeing play into rates for 2021? I believe carriers, insurers are now in the business of setting rates. Will if they're giving back premium in 2020, are we likely to see flat premiums in 2021 or even some decreases?
Well, so the way the rates work for 2021 is they typically they actually have to be submitted in the spring and early summer of 2020. So many carriers probably developed and submitted for regulatory review their 2021 rates before they decided to do a premium holiday. So what we are seeing as rates come through and states start to announce what the final rates are, is that generally rates are flat or in some cases decreasing. There are a few that are going up a little bit, but I think overall rates are flat or in some cases going down. So I don't think that the recent announcements about premium holidays or premium relief had much of an impact on 2021 rates. I think those were already sort of built and underwent regulatory review before any of these premium holidays.
Now, whether we're going to see any more, any further premium holidays, I suppose depends on what sort of rebound there is in terms of the provision of healthcare in the second half of the year, correct?
That's right. I don't know that I would expect if a carrier's already announced one, whether they would necessarily do another one in this calendar year. I think there's also pressure probably within the company to conserve resources because there's still a lot of uncertainty. If there should be a vaccine, we don't know what the cost of that is going to be. If there's a very expensive treatment that comes online for COVID-19, or any other, if it's a really bad flu season, I think carriers are going to be inclined to conserve, even though they also have this pressure to spend. So there's a tension, I assume, within most companies, so I don't know that I would expect whole lot more in the way of premium relief between now and the end of the calendar year if it hasn't already been announced.
Now, COVID-19 care is expensive care. So aren't there some insurers who have actually been hit hard in terms of expense and their financial position? Is there some lumpiness here, and it would be carriers in certain parts of the market, in certain parts of the population that are enjoying, financial good times and large margins, while others are sort of taking a hit?
It's a great question. I mean, we know that older people tend to have worse outcomes, do get sicker from the virus, and obviously those are folks more likely to be on Medicare. And so I think that may be a reason why carriers in the commercial market haven't faced super high costs, because a lot of that cost is in the Medicare market. We know that the COVID-19 pandemic has had a disproportionate impact on people of color. People of color also who are in certain industries that may or may not offer employer-based insurance. In fact, many of them do not. So many of these folks may be on Medicaid, may be uninsured. And so I do think I like the term lumpiness, that, just as COVID-19 is not hitting every community or population equally, I think the same is true for how it's affecting insurers.
Now, I wanted to just shift the subject slightly and get your take on something else that maybe is not completely in your wheelhouse, but maybe is. So there's another storyline in terms of insurance and providers, in terms of insurance, that providers who are in these value-based care arrangements, which involve some sort of capitation, have actually done better, which is to say they've gotten paid by payers, than providers that are still where most of their revenue, it comes in through fee for service. So I just wondered whether that's something that's a storyline, whether you accept it as being true, and what, if you do, what that says about the future of these much talked about, sort of ad nauseum talked about, value-based care arrangements.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the conventional wisdom has been that the providers who've been in capitated arrangements have been doing better than those that are fee for service. And that makes a lot of logical sense, right? If services go away and you're billing per service, you're going to be suffering. I don't know that there's any great data on that yet to really document that in any sort of quantitative way. It's at this point, as far as I know, just anecdotal. But if that's the case, I think that the next question is, do you start to see a shift in providers' willingness to accept risk-based contracts? And I don't know that we've seen that yet. There's always been a reluctance to take on any downside risk. And I don't know that I just haven't heard that there's been a real shift in attitudes on that front, but this may just be one of these things that just takes a while to play out.
Yeah, I think it's sort of, maybe aside from telehealth, we're going to just have to sort of watch the world turn a little bit to see exactly how COVID-19 reshapes healthcare delivery, healthcare financing, and a lot of other things in American life. So, including working from home. So I think it's been helpful to hear you talk about this premium relief, that it may, in fact, one way to think of it is sort of a bit of a down payment, a little bit of a MLR rebate in advance for some of these employers and individuals. And we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens as more and more news comes out about rates for 2021. So thanks.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you. Thanks. Good to talk to you.